Welcome to Chart High, episode 5. This is either episode 5 or episode 6. Okay, basically, and you can already hear that we have a guest. We have a guest on, of course, on this podcast. We are calling this the Quarantine Podcast. But,
Quarantine podcast.
yes, but this is the trading podcast where we discuss different mental and psychological trading topics. And we really dig down and share the honest truth that comes with this game and what comes with being a trader. So I have a special guest today known as Roger Banks. You guys may know him as Wicks Don't Lie. So say hello, say hello.
Hello. The wicks don't lie. The wicks don't lie is here.
Okay, so that was a very average introduction. But
What else do you want me to say? Say, okay,
something
Wayne
about
in it. Wayne in 220 pounds. Wicks don't lie.
but anyways, today's topic of discussion, because you know how, of course, if you guys know Roger Banks, Wicks Don't Lie, you can always see his various technical views on the market via his live stream every morning. New York starts at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. YouTube.com/slash Wicks Don't Lie. So if you ever want to see his technical view on the markets and other viewpoints, you can go view that every morning. But today we are trying to get this man's perspective on the psychological view, and what we are going to be discussing is the trading journey. So what we are going to be doing is starting ourselves from basically when we first started, or as a perspective of a fresh trader, brand new to the markets, and going through that person's mindset, what their expectations are from trading, what they think is going to happen, how what they're being influenced by, and how it's influencing them. External influences like social media, different like mentorship groups, all these signal chats, or like the money and riches and fame that they think they're gonna get. And we're going to be taking you through this journey of this trader as they go from these early stages, start to develop, and then come to a point where they are comfortable with themselves and comfortable with the market and knowing what they are trying to get out of it. And then this will also help you, the listener, during these quarantine blues, understand at what part of the trading journey stage you are at, right?
Right. So, so what, what staging stage do you think you are in?
Well, we will discuss this. Obviously, we'll start from the very beginning. But I personally think, and when we discuss it, it'll make sense to the listeners. I think I'm at the stage of acceptance and understanding, right? No more. Sorry, not driven by ego anymore, or not driven by high expectations, dreams, or ego. As we are experienced and more seasoned in the market, so we know the reality of it, right? That's what we're going to try to share with these listeners today through those stages.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. So, all right. What's the first stage here? I think the first stage is kind of like, like forex trading. What is this thing over here?
Exactly. The first stage is
What?
just coming into the game, having no idea what's going on, and having very high expectations. Like I remember first coming into trading, and then a week in of just not even learning a thing, maybe just first opening a demo account, just seeing all the influence on social media. I remember first week telling my parents, "You will retire soon, and I don't worry what house do you want." Right?
We will retire. I think that's like more about trading without knowledge.
Exactly. But we that's what we're trying that's why we're trying to highlight to these people. So what comes with trading without knowledge and first being exposed to the markets and being fresh is is what I think it's high this, and then you share your opinion after. All right, I think it's
Yeah.
very high expectations of what they think they're going to achieve from the market, very high ego of what they think they deserve from the market, and that lack of knowledge causes a lot of ignorance, and this ignorance allows them to believe a lot of external factors that can influence them easily. Meaning, like, you go on social media, you see guys talking about how trading is so easy, and they're in Lamborghinis and they're selling these signals or they're making hundreds of thousands a day, right? That kind of stuff will distract you and suck you in because of ignorance and having no knowledge. And this is the spot where most traders start from, right? So to
Yeah.
me, that's like most traders, your journey starts from a point of just having no idea what's going on in ignorance, which allows you to be easily influenced by social media and these external factors, and allows you to be easily distracted and take away from what you really need to be focusing on to help you become a good trader. So I think that's my opinion on where everybody starts.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Because like, like I remember when I first started and all I knew was like from my buddy, right? My buddy was with Wealth
Hmm.
Generators and he came to me one day, he's like, man, I just won $900. I'm like, oh yeah? How? So he
Yeah.
showed me this app. This app was like running at it had like blue 900. He's like, I just closed 900. I'm like, oh, perfect. Then I'm like, okay, so how does this work? So he told me, well, there's this company, they send you these numbers, and you gotta plug in these numbers, and then it's gonna make money for you,
Oh, so he's talking about like a signal thing, pretty much.
like a signal thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
Right. So I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. So I downloaded the app and then opened up a demo account, and I never really signed up to the signal thing because I was very hesitant in giving someone money.
Yeah.
So I said, let me play around with it. So demo account, start with 10,000, hook it up to 90,000. I'm like, fuck it, this is easy.
Yeah, see, and that's the ego, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then I loaded with $200, and that $200 went away in like 2 days,
right. Quickly,
just gone. You know?
and we all go through that,
Yeah.
and so that I
So
agree with you there. That's the first stage, right? But let's
yeah,
get a little bit more in depth for the listeners as well, because once you have that first stage and your ego hits the scene and you first hit the markets live and everything, and you're very unaware of what's going on. For example, you might be jumping from strategy to strategy. You might be trying to do 10 different things at 10 different times. You might be burning through accounts because of this, having no plan. All these incorrect principles that like the first beginning stage trader is following. This leads to what I think the second stage is of anger, being angry at the markets, right? And I think this anger at the markets comes from comes from a bit of the ego and a bit of that self entitlement of thinking of thinking the market, like you deserve something from the markets, like the market should be making you rich right now, why is it not? I'm trying to do this work, like I'm trading, like, oh, why didn't it go my way? Because they have no
yeah.
knowledge and right. I think the second thing is anger, and this anger
I
usually, well, yeah, go ahead.
I think the second stage could be, so like you first started, you start trading
Yeah, yeah.
and you lose money, you don't know what the fuck you're doing, you're reading online. I think then the second stage is going to be, you're like, okay, you know what? The realization that I might need like a mentor, or I might need
Hmm.
someone's help.
You're right. I want to take back what I said, and what you're saying is the second stage. I think the anger and that stuff comes after that. But yeah, continue
Yeah,
now. Yeah, yeah, continue,
anger
continue.
comes. Yeah,
Yeah.
like you're like, all right, let me just try to get somebody. I'm going to pay somebody, and I'm going to take a course.
Yep.
'Cause that might help me. And you take a course, and
Or get involved with a group, right? Get
yeah,
into like a group type of environment.
mhm,
They put you in where you're chatting with other traders, and then yeah.
yeah, and then you start discussing ideas. You're like, oh man, this is awesome. I'm in a group. I'm in like-minded people, and and then you start winning trades, and then you develop some virtual friendships, and there are
Hmm.
some egos involved as well.
That's
And
that's major. But that we have to really address, because a lot of people ignore this, that it's great to be involved in these environments and groups with like-minded traders, but it also brings a lot of negative trading emotions like
yeah,
envy and ego, where people get very prideful and their like analysis or trades they start arguing over people over the wrong things. You know what I mean? And it brings a lot of unneeded negativity, envy, jealousy, hate in these environments.
yeah, how that comes around. I think that this envy and jealousy comes about like when you have somebody who's trading one way, and then there's other somebody who is now trading one way from someone else,
Hmm.
and they're both stuck in that mindset of, okay, no, my thing is the best.
I agree with that.
If you don't do this, you are a retard.
No,
Sure.
100%. And people create almost like these little gangs of drama where like you
Yeah.
see on social media people having groups fighting other groups when we should all be working together trying to trade these markets efficiently. Because what I want to reflect on that you're saying is very true is that there's 1,000 ways to trade the market and view the market, right? What
Mm.
I say is what I say is that there's many aspects of trading fundamentally and technically that are universal. Like like for example, how the market trends, how the market waves work, how market structure and all that works. But there's tens, 20, 100 ways to view these things for what you like Wixo Live might see a reversal point as like a support being respected plus very strong bullish candles off that support. Somebody else might view that same reversal point as a Fibonacci being hit. Another guy might view that reversal point as a 200-day EMA point being hit, right? But
Yep.
but the market isn't doing anything different for these three different people. They just have different perceptions and views of the market that best allow them to see it, right? The way you view candles and the way you view price action is giving you the best advantage in your trading, right? If somebody else doesn't understand that, they might not be able to apply the same principles. And this is where people have to learn about being very individualistic and taking things from people that work for you and doing things that and just staying away from things that don't work for you and sticking to that, right?
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right, man. And then I think like once you stick to certain things, you keep doing it. And then for some reason, you see something you've never seen before. You know, you see someone taking this amazing trade and you feel like, okay, I gotta do that now.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start losing money. Because then when you start losing money, man, you start questioning everything.
Yep.
Your mentors, you start questioning everything someone else is doing. That's when the anger comes in.
That's when anger comes. And through the stages, so through the first stage we talked about of being new and exposed, the second stage we talked about of the person being involved in groups or going to a mentor or trying to learn from those types of ways, right? And the third stage coming up where it's anger, resentment, and a lot of hate, right? All of this is
Mm.
still being fueled by this person having no plan, right? This person still has no plan of what they want from the markets every day, week, month, what their long term goals are, what their
Hmm.
short term goals are, what their risk is, right? What their strategy is. This person, through these first three stages, is still in is still in denial. It still has very little knowledge of the markets, right? Very little understanding themselves, and they're just trying different systems based on what they're easily influenced and distracted by, as per like social media and these different groups. Okay,
Yeah,
just to
that's true.
summarize for our listeners, so this person in the first three stages, still very ignorant, still very still very what's the word, still avoiding their own personal growth and still avoiding what they really need to help them develop in the market. So like you were saying, third stage is the anger and resentment.
Mm.
What do you think about that?
Yep, that's
Have you gone
absolutely
through
true.
that?
Anger, yeah,
I think
yeah.
we've all gone through that.
I've gone through anger and resentment. I think my anger was mostly towards like I only paid Ted, you know, like
Yeah.
for mentorship and stuff like that. And my anger was mostly towards that if I'm losing, how come all these people on social media is always winning?
Right.
Yeah, I'm like, why is everyone winning all the time? You know, like how is this so easy for them and so hard for me?
It just
You
makes
know,
you and that makes you and it just brings anger towards you, right? It makes you angry at everything else and it has you always questioning why, and it has you feeling like, so now this trader in that stage also feels like the market is personally after them,
yeah, that's true.
right? They also feel like the market is always personally after them, always trying to crash their account, even though this person still has no real plan. has
Mm.
no real trading system that they have back tested and that works for them and gives them an edge to the markets, no matter what it is, right? It's
Yeah.
like we said, a thousand ways to trade the market. It's just about having the patience and discipline and consistency to stick to that system over and over again, right?
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so that third stage is the anger. I've gone through that where I was first starting, crashing accounts. I was going from different trading strategy to strategy. I was trying to
Oh, you
remember,
crashed accounts too?
bro. What do you mean? Everybody's crashed account. And
Yeah.
I never did demo accounts really when I started because I always had a good paying job and I always had
Yeah.
money because like I was doing stock investing and other stuff. I would always be depositing accounts and just burning through them because like one day I would be trying to do an EMA strategy. The next week I would flip from that and try to do fucking higher time frame prevails with Regov.
Yeah,
Right?
that's true.
The week after that, I was trying to do. You're trying to do a different strategy, or you're trying to use a Fibonacci, or you're trying to swing trade. Right? You're just trying to. You're trying to work as fast as possible to find something that's going to make you rich as fast as possible. And all this does, that mindset, is just lead you to failure and burning through accounts and just being angry at everything around you. Right?
Yeah, no, that's right. That's absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
And I think then so like what made you see that okay, like you're losing right now. What basically changed? What was the
So
change?
for me, it was a mental and psychological change where I basically realized that the people that are making money, they aren't necessarily copying or doing what everybody else is or what everyone else is. They're doing their own thing. They're just sharing their own thing that works for them, right? So then I realized, and then after reading some books like like Trading in the Zone is a great book. That really opened me up about how I'm my worst own enemy, right? It's like me losing money is nobody else's fault. My lack of knowledge is nobody else's fault. All this things that are happening that I'm angry at is all 100% my fault.
Mm,
So I just came to a stage of acceptance, and then starting, and then what I think the next stage is after the anger is acceptance and starting to actually work and putting in the time and chart hours to find what works for you, right?
yeah, that's true.
So that's what I started to do is I hit the point where I was trying so many systems, trying so many strategies, trying these signal chats, and they were just all failing me. I was always trying to chase short-term impulse and emotional short-term money like it's a casino and had no long-term plans or goals. And I was really blaming everything else except for myself.
Were you over trading?
Yeah, bro, I was over trading. I was trying to do everything, right? And all these things, over leveraging, like trying to flip an account 10 times just on NFP. You know what I mean? Just stuff.
Yeah.
Just it's all stuff. And this is what I want to talk about on a side note. So let's take a side note and put the trading journey on pause for a second.
All
I think,
right.
and let's talk about something. You know how in cartoons, bro, when they always had like the one side of your shoulder was a devil and the other side of your shoulder was a little angel, and like you would have to make a decision, like the cartoon character or movie character, whatever it is, they had to make a decision about something important, and the devil's telling you the wrong thing and the angel's telling you the right thing, right?
Yep.
We all have that when it comes to trading, except the devil who's telling us bad things is right next to our shoulder, screaming in our ear. And the angel, that good, logical, instinctive thinking, that's deep in our stomach. It's not on our other shoulder talking as loud. So,
Yeah.
what I mean by this is that it's very easy and it's very easy to follow that devil because it's so loud, obnoxious. It's telling you to break your plan. It's telling you to overtrade, over leverage, try to flip your account today, try to make $1 million tomorrow. It's that demon on your shoulder screaming in your ear is where people enter this stupid state of mind when they're trading and they crash and burn their account or they don't follow their plan. That demon is super easy to follow, but we all have that good instinctive logical voice that voice is very dim in traders that are not experienced or disciplined. It's a skill to bring that voice of logic and reason or that good voice on your other shoulder to bring that out,
Like your
right?
gut. Your
right?
gut feeling,
That
right?
gut feeling, yeah. So that usually that gut feeling, everybody has it. Where you're looking at price and you and that demon, like let's just say you're in a trade, right? You have your stop loss set. Now price is starting to go into drawdown and near your stop loss. What's the demon tell you? The demon tells you to remove your stop loss or put it back farther and enter another position, double down, right? For the
Mm.
non-experienced trader, for the non-experienced and the new trader. That's what the demon's telling you to do. Is like, no, don't worry, price will turn. Remove your stop loss. We'll get profit. Where in your gut, you know this trade is not looking good,
Yeah.
right? You have that
And
instinctive feeling from like knowing this is not looking good, like to take the loss.
hmm
So that's what I think is like a lot of traders have to realize, and they have to work on the psychological aspect of kicking that demon off your shoulder and shutting that negative voice up that only tells you to follow bad trading behavior like impulsive trading, emotional trading, over trading, revenge trading, no plan, no blueprint, and learn to follow that voice of reason and logic where trading really is just a game of numbers, right? Most people
yeah,
don't realize that you could have a 50%, a 55% win rate, but have a 1 to 2 risk to reward where your wins are double the size of your losses. And if you follow that and have a $1,000 or $10,000 account, that can turn into six figures over a period of trades if you 100% follow that risk plan, right?
yes, exactly.
So yeah, what do you think about that? About the whole demon and about how people got the, I think that's a generic thing. Like all people have that.
Yeah, I think people are just, I mean, they're just, some people just greedy. I think most people just start with like very small accounts. I mean, I don't want to say like starting with small accounts is bad.
Mhm.
I was talking to somebody yesterday. I talked to a lot of people, and this discussion was about like, how starting with a small account, you can build your emotional stamina
That's
trading,
true.
but then if you really want to learn about money, then when you go towards starting, let's say a minimum, let's say $1,000
Yeah,
minimum thousand, but 5,000 would be ideal. 5,000, ten
that's something
thousand. So
something to work with, right?
yeah,
And you
something
don't
to
feel
work with.
and you don't feel as much pressure to like, fuck, I gotta flip this, or like I gotta, you know what I mean? Like starting with
Oh
like $100, like there could be more pressure there to try to bring it up because you're starting so small, right?
man, flipping accounts, it's it doesn't work. I mean, flip it like, what are you gonna flip? Like $1,000 account, then what? I've never seen someone consistently flip a 10,000 or 20,000.
Well, yeah, keep flipping and flipping, right? You have to
You
follow
know?
some growth plan.
Yeah, and also like if you're gonna be focusing on let's say 1% or like 2%, doing that on a $500 account or $100 account makes no sense because
It's
there's
not
no
gonna grow.
monetary gain.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
gonna grow.
like it's really good to say that no, just focus on percentage, but to be honest,
It
one
makes
percent on
Exactly. If you're starting with $100 to $200 and you're doing 1 to 2%, but if that person is starting with $100 and that $100 has little value to them in the sense they can 100% lose it, they're 100% willing to risk it, and $100 is very small, I would recommend that person following like a 5, 10, 20% compound plan. You know what I mean? Where they're looking for that type of, where they're putting that type of risk on the table for the gain, just because it's a snowball effect that way, and because the only reason I'm saying this is because they would be starting with something very small, and that they are 100% willing to lose, right?
no,
I
I don't
would.
think it's, I don't know, like I
I
want to
think
say is that if someone starts with the like with a 10 to 20% compound plan, I think that's just building bad habits.
it depends if they're starting small. Because let's just say
Yeah.
if somebody starts with, let's just say if somebody starts with $100 and
Mm.
they're doing a 10% risk plan, and they're doing and let's just say in 10, 15 successful trades of following that with like a 1 to 3 risk to reward, they can actually take that $100 to $1,000 or $5,000 and now have some capital to work with and adjust their plan with that.
Yeah, there's a very high probability that's never gonna happen.
What do you mean? We've done that. I've done that all the time.
Yeah, but
I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
you've seen my girlfriend do like $200 to like for 15K, and then
Yeah,
work with that. Then you have capital to work with. It just takes a lot of discipline to stick to only finding those trades that like, you know what I
yeah, but like
mean?
that's what I'm saying. Like there's a very high probability it's not gonna happen. you
Oh,
know.
for most people, yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
hundred
yeah.
percent.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Like if you have 10 people, I think one or two are going to be able to do it.
Hundred
Maximum
percent,
two.
100%. I agree with that. Maybe just one,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
Maybe just one out of the 10 people who have the discipline and patience
That's
to stick with that. But it is possible.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Anything's possible. You can go to the moon. They haven't done it yet, but it's possible.
It's, you don't think we've done it yet?
No,
You
bro.
think
Who's
it's
gone to the
fake?
moon?
Okay, that's a different. It's a whole different conversation. That's a whole
They
different
haven't.
conversation.
They haven't. Listen, even if you Google Russia on moon, you're never.
Russia?
Yeah, you're never gonna find any pictures.
I'll check it out after. But anyways,
Fucking
let's get back on
only
topic.
only Gore went to the moon. Wow, clapping for them, bro.
But anyways, so we
Yeah.
were discussing the trading journey. We are talking about those good and bad habits. We are talking about how the fourth part of the trading journey is the acceptance. And finally,
No,
what?
the fourth part is the breakdown.
The breakdown? I thought
Yeah,
that's the third, the anger and the so you see the anger, then what's the fourth?
the fourth one is just depression.
Just straight depression.
Yeah,
That's true, actually. That is a major
'cause
stage.
the depression stage, bro. Like, what do you mean? Forex is kicking your ass,
So
and
now, when people hit this depression stage, this is when there's a fork in the road, and 80% quit, and then the other 20% might go on to the fifth stage of acceptance
man, I've seen people go on hard drugs too
because of
when there's
trading.
depression stage. Yeah,
Yeah, right.
depression stage. Yeah,
Because of
yeah,
losing so
seriously.
much, because of losing so much money trading, and
Losing so much, and like if you come from somewhere like where you're making money and you're losing, let's say like you're bleeding 1,500 to 2,000 a month,
yeah,
after a time it takes a toll on you. Like you look back, you're like, fuck man, in the
that's
last what 4 months I've lost almost like, let's say
50K. If
10,000.
yeah, if some people lose like 50K, no problem, and burn through it.
Yeah, that's a very difficult stage to be in,
Yeah, it
it's,
is.
especially when you have people around you who don't understand what you're doing.
Yeah, 100%. And people and everywhere else on social media, you see people just only making money,
Yeah.
right? And then you say, and this also influences you to continue breaking your plan and just follow impulse and just and stay in that vicious cycle.
Bro, this at the time I mentioned that I eat strawberries in the morning, to get
Okay.
active. Some people message, some guy asked me, so bro, do you eat 4 strawberries or 6 strawberries?
No, man, this just goes to show you. See, because you do the live streams and because you have some influence on social media, those traders that are asking you these questions are these ignorant early stage traders, bro. They're
Yeah,
very easily influenced. If they think that the
very easy.
strawberry is gonna get them more winning trades, and you say that, they're gonna go eat 10 strawberries a day.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
you posted right now and said, and said, and said a lot of my success has been thankful to strawberries. They really boost your mental focus and you know what I mean. It really keep you following your trading plan.
Mm,
Maybe 70% of people who read it will believe it.
yeah, exactly.
100%. And that's how twisted this whole world of social media and influence and everything really is, right? And how some people can really use it in a negative fashion. But so first stage we have the complete new person exposed. Second, and thinks high expectations, high ego, all that shit, right? And people can always
Hmm.
go back and listen to see how he explained the stages. Second stage, we got going into joining a group, the mentorship, and all of that. Third stage, we got the anger, the hatred towards everything and everything around you, and then fourth stage, we have the straight depression, straight just losing in that vicious cycle of ignorance, ego, losing money, bad trading habits, and just now I think this is where the fork in the road comes, where a lot of
Oh,
people will quit, right? And then there's people who will take a step back and realize the game for what it is and finally accept very important aspects that will improve their own personal trading. Like first of all, finding what works for them, and then these people will actually start putting in the real time and effort into getting chart hours to find what works for them into getting a piece of the pie out of the market and doing this consistently over a period of time.
yeah, I know that's true. And what happens after the depression stage?
I think that's what it is for the either 80% of the people quit trading forever and they just say this is like fuck this, or they never get out and they get trapped in that vicious cycle of making a little bit of money, crashing the account, like always just bad trading habits, no trading plan, no risk plan, all of that, right? Or they finally go into the path of light of acceptance and going to go find what works for them. That's
Yeah, I think, yeah, you're right. Like a lot of people quit too. I've seen a lot of people quit.
right. A lot of people quit because they just can't
Yeah, a
take the
lot of
heat.
people quit. They
and
can't
people
take.
and some people just don't understand that if they have goals, if their goals, and it's perfectly fine to have big goals. If their goals are to
Mm,
make $100,000 a year in trading, you better be ready to put in the respected time and effort and studying involved that's going to give you that output of $100,000, right? Whether it be back testing your own system, studying the how the market works, whatever it is, because people when they trade they lose the concept of money and they forget that doctors go to school for fucking 5, 10, 15 years, some of these professions to earn $100,000 or higher than six-figure salary, right?
yeah, it's true.
But people think they're going to come into trading because they're so ignorant and not, I don't want to say unintelligent, but they're so ignorant and not educated in in these topics that they think they can come in the game for 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, and make millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars and completely change their life, which it doesn't. The input versus the output just doesn't make sense to me. You know,
Yeah, that's true. It doesn't make any sense.
it just doesn't make sense. So I think once people and this is what we're talking about of accepting that once people learn to accept the input versus the output, accept that trading is very individual and there's 1,000 ways to perceive and view the market and 1,000 different ways to trade the market. Like some people out here are literally scalping, hyper scalping on 1 minute charts, different whether it be a stock, commodity, like currency, scalping 3 pips, scalping 3 pips in and out for maybe 2 hours a day. Some people are swinging for hundreds of pips, thousands of pips. Some people are
Oh,
positional trading. You know what I mean? Some people
yeah.
intraday trade. Like some people trade with the trend. Some people counter. Like there's so many endless ways to trade and take your piece of the pie out of the market. It's just about if you have the discipline and acceptance that it's a lot of the mental adaptation to achieve that. You know what I mean? It's just discipline to achieve that. Once you find
Yeah,
what
no,
works
you're
for
right.
you.
You're 100% right. Like it takes a little bit of a time, you know? And then you finally realize that it's basically not about the money, but it's about the process.
It's about the process and just repeating that process over and over, right? So I think the stage after the depression, there's a three-way split. You have people quit, you have people never go into the light of acceptance and they just stay doing the vicious bad habits and doing what they're doing. And you have
Mm,
the people, the small percent of people that finally go into that stage of acceptance and realization. And this next stage of acceptance and realization is the work stage. This is where that person has to go and that trader has to finally go back test and see what works for them through trial and error, and then apply those principles, have the trading plan and discipline to be consistently profitable in the markets,
yeah, no, that's right.
right? So for me, I think I'm still in that acceptance and working stage where I'm still seeing I understand what works for me. I understand how the markets work, and I just need to consistently keep hammering out trades as per my system or trading style, whatever you want to call it, that I know works for me and that gives me an edge to help in to just give me probability of what of these trades work or they don't work, right? And then you compound that.
Yeah, I think at the same time, you're also constantly working towards to see that if some things are clicking for you, so you start to see that, okay, how long are they going to be able to, like, work out?
Yeah, that's true.
Like when things start to click, and then you start to focus on just those things.
Yeah, and just capitalize on it, take advantage of what's clicking.
Exactly. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's a really big stage where you're like, okay, you know what? Now this kind of makes sense.
Mhm. That's true. That's true. So I think I'm in that stage of finding of pretty much finding what has clicked for me and just going with it, right? So that's why like a lot of the analysis stuff we do in Capital Hungry, like
Yep.
there's so many ways to trade it. I always tell those people in Capital Hungry as well that when I send the analysis, whether you want to take a trade at the start of the week and swing trade what our analysis is and hold it, whether you want to
Mm.
scalp with the trend, whether you want to intraday trade and hold for a few hours, that's all up to you, right?
Yep.
This is just the market analysis to use as reference and reference it with your risk plan and your trading plan. And that's why I wanted to, and what you do with market fluidity, and what I want to do with Capital Hungry is always keep people reminded of the true reality, right?
Yep.
Like trading can be very rewarding, but you have to put the time, effort, and work in. It's just
Yeah. At the same time, you got to respect the market as well.
you have to 100% respect the market because the market is vicious.
Yes.
The market is the meanest bitch I ever met, right?
Yeah, man, that's right. Like the market, it I think another big thing is like people need to understand that market is always right.
Yeah, yes. And no, let's put it. That was great, but let's put it as a sense that you can't fight the market. The market's Mike Tyson,
Yes.
right? Like you can't, no matter how fucking like no matter how fucking tough you think of a boxer you are, no matter how well prepared you think you are, the market is a prime Mike Tyson, prime,
Prime.
fully healthy, 100 fully healthy, unleashed, angry Mike Tyson, and he is angry at you because you did something to his family.
Yeah.
That's who you're facing up against. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, you're right. You're actually right. And when you're facing someone like that, you don't want to be in the ring for a long time.
Ex-
You just want to go
Yo,
in and out, in and out, in and out.
I like that. I like that. You want to take what you can, those jabs out of the market, and you want to get out and go home
Yeah,
safe.
man. Because Mike Tyson's gonna fuck you up if you stay in there for a long time.
That's 100% true. That is 100% true. So I think for our listeners that are listening to this will give them a lot of reality that they can relate to because how we've described the several different stages. Because somebody who's listening who's in that denial stage, they might not know it, right? Somebody who's listening who's in that anger stage, they might not know it until they hear it from a different perspective because their mentor or social media where you only see Lambos and people taking 100 lot $1 million trades, they're not telling them this reality of like you need to get so for those people listening who are in that angry stage, who are in that stage of ignorance, if you are listening, you need to get out of that cycle, and it depends on you to get out of that cycle, vicious cycle, and grow your knowledge and find what works for you because it is 100% possible to make money in these markets. It just first takes having a plan and a blueprint, and then building. Like what was I saying? Fuck, what was I saying, Rakil, before? Every trade, like once you have your plan and blueprint, should be like a brick.
Yes.
It should be like a brick you are laying as per your blueprint that you're following to build a home for yourself. Every trade should have a purpose or value, where most people are just throwing around bricks everywhere and they're taking a lot of trades, but they're not building towards anything because they have no
Yeah, that's
blueprint, they
true.
have no plan, right?
There's no blueprint, there's no plan.
Exactly. But as soon as you actually have the discipline and patience where every trade is treated like a brick to build towards your house, eventually after a period of time, you built a wall. Well, the guy down the street who's just throwing bricks everywhere and has no blueprint and has no plan and he's just following his emotions, he has a lot of bricks, but he didn't build anything. But you already have built a one wall. And once
A
you built
one
one
wall.
wall, it's easier to build the second wall. Now you've already built the wall, right?
Yep. The wall's here. Now you just gotta make it stronger and
And
you
build
know you
another wall next to it. Start building the house.
yes. Oh, that's a really good analogies over there.
Right? That's how you do it. But you can't do that without having the discipline to understand that you have to start with one brick and it has to follow a blueprint.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? You have to start with that one wall. So
And then what happens? And then you start making money consistently. I think a major part is also like when you start getting consistent and you're compounding, whatever, but you're
pay
not
yourself.
withdrawing.
Pay yourself.
Yeah. You gotta start keep on paying yourself.
Make it real. And I always remember this from what you told me. Even if it's paying a phone bill, right? Even
Yep.
if you can start by paying your phone bill and then slowly grow to paying your rent and then go to paying your rent, phone bill, and car, right? Like from trading and you're still working. That's amazing for compared to
That's
90% of people out there.
yeah, that's crazy.
So a lot of people don't focus on these things, but that's why we are here day in and day out in the trenches. You can see Wicks Don't Lie on his live stream every morning for New York session again. I'll have the link in the YouTube and stuff as well. And we just wanted to take our listeners through that journey of a brand new trader and how they come into the markets and how you can be influenced by a lot of negativity and noise. And if you reflect this podcast as well as the other chart high episodes, it will really help put your mind state to be a healthy long term to be a trader who will have longevity in the game. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly.
Yeah, because all that other stuff and following all that social media bullshit and all that stuff, like following the 90% and that noise and like just all this toxic negativity, that's really just gonna leave you in the same vicious cycle. And then you got other people that are like, oh, trading is a zero sum game. Like we can all win, we can all be happy and win. No, there's winners and there's fucking losers in this game,
Yeah, exactly. There are
right?
winners and there are losers.
There's winners and losers. Not everybody can win. Not everybody can be happy making millions of dollars. Otherwise, it would already be working that way. It's very difficult to find what works for you. But once you do and you have the patience to stick to that, trading can become profitable long term. As you have examples here with Bricks Don't Lie, he shows that every single day in his live streams.
Yep. Thank you so much for Jeevan. This I really had a really good time here on this podcast.
Right? Just laid back, talking about the reality of stuff. We can share this. We'll share this with our people. And yeah, we'll just wrap this up now. So this was a psychological chart high. I'll have to actually clarify what episode it is because we got too high. But but really talking about the trading journey and perspective of trading and finding what works for you and accepting the reality of the markets. Right? We'll call it like that.
Yeah, we'll call it something like that.
All right. So thank you, Raja. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. Okay. See you later.
See you later, brother. Take care.